Now, the entire trunk is subdivided into smaller structures you call nerve fascicle. Fascicle. So this is a fascicle, a fascicle, fascicle. A fascicle is surrounded by connective tissue, which is in turn called peri. Yan, neurium. Alright? And then the fascicle are individual axons, usually myelinated. Even axons have thin connective tissue covering which you call endoneurium. Alright, so those are three structures that we're going to identify in the practical. There is your specimen. So first question, you may be asked to identify the entire organ. Nerve trunk. Alright? Then identify pointed connective tissue covering is the epineurium. Identify the pointed connective tissue covering perineurium for its fascicle. Alright? And then for endoneurium must be HPO. LPO lang yan ha? Yan. So, ewan ko kung baka mas malaki pa yung pointer dyan. Hindi na siguro pwede yan, ano? But, in case distinct pa yan, identify pointed connective tissue covering of the axon, endoneurium. Alright? So that's number one, peripheral nerve trunk. Now, the dorsal root ganglion. Review of your spinal nerve formation. The spinal nerve is formed by the dorsal root and the ventral root. Ventral root is purely motor and function. Dorsal root is purely sensory. Now, along the course of the dorsal root is the ganglion called DRG, simply called dorsal root ganglion. That is the dorsal root ganglion, also called spinal ganglion. Alright? Now, histology. We all know by now that the neurons found in the DRG are morphologically classified as pseudo-unipolar. Remember? In the beginning, it is unipolar, but then after some distance, this axon or this process will divide into two. So it's a false uni. It's actually bi, no? Two. What are the two bifurcations? One goes to the spinal cord. It's called the central process, which is the axon, by the way. And then the one is called the peripheral process, which is, by the way, is the dendrite. So it's bipolar, no? This dendrite or peripheral process will be incorporated to all branches of the spinal nerve and comprise your so-called GSA component. Remember, painted with your touch, comprise section from the body wall. So this peripheral process will actually end up as sensory receptors in the body wall. GSA fiber. Yung GSA fiber pala dendrite lang siya, no? Okay? Now, look at this. There are myelinated fibers, right? So there must be Schwann cell here. Because it is the Schwann cell that myelinates your peripheral nerve. Di ba? Correct? What about the central system? What is the myelinator? What do you call the cell? Oh. Oligodendrocyte. Di ba? O, nagpitin pa kayo, oligodendrocyte. Tama, oligodendrocyte. Here in the peripheral is the Schwann cell. Okay? Oh, still from your book, the complete description. No? Nilagay ko na lang yan. In the DRG, the cell bodies are concentrated peripherally. Okay? The cell bodies are large and rounded. The nucleus is large and centrally located. There are numerous satellite cells formed complete sleeve like a string of pearl. Alright? So this is it. Morphologically, they are classified as pseudo-unipolar and as to function sensory. I would like to say GSA is sensory, somatic sensory, no? But we have learned that during the discussion that pain fiber, visceral, they also utilize this. So I cannot say just somatic sensory, just sensory will suffice, all right? And then the fibers are myelinated here in the ganglion. There are no synapses, natural. This is not sympathetic, parasympathetic. Oh, look at this again. Oh. From the receptor to the GSA fiber to the dorsal root, derecho, no? To the to the central branch, central process bypassing the cell body. This is just one neuron. There's no synapse. Isang neuron lang yan. Maski itong anterior, only one neuron up to the muscle. Yung dalawang neuron lang is sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay? O yan. This is your actual specimen. Is this the view scanning? Hindi siguro. By the way, the cell bodies of neurons are more in the periphery. More in the center or core of the ganglion are fibers, myelin fibers. Okay? Now, shift to, mamili tayo. LPO. Still, these are the cell bodies of the pseudo-unipolar neurons. In the center are fibers. Ano kaya maganda? Siguro ito na. HPO. Kasi wala na iba eh. So, under this HPO, several questions I may ask, no? First, identify the entire organ. Your answer will be DRG, dorsal root ganglion. And then, identify the following. Label ko na lang. Pointed cell. Schwann cell. Why? That is a nucleus, no? And this, the cytoplasm is actually the myelin. So, obviously, this cell myelinates the fibers here, no? So, ayan, ang myelinated fibers. Associated with myelinated fibers, there's no other cell except the Schwann cell. Alright, kung makakita. Kung wala, wala. Alright, this is another, I believe this is another nucleus, no? Schwann cell. Next, structure to the satellite cells. No more, hindi na yung satellite cells. They are too small, no? But these cells themselves, if I would point at this cell and ask you to identify the practically the cell will be DRG neuron, or just neuron of DRG. If you will answer pseudo-unipolar neurons, correct them, but the proper answer is DRG neuron. And then I may ask you to classify the pointed cell as to morphology, and then that's the time you answer pseudo-unipolar. Alright? I may ask you about the function, sensory, etc., etc. Okay, so that's the DRG. Now we go to sympathetic ganglion. Specifically, the paravertebral. Di ba may prevertebral? Eh, yung sa slide nyo, it's just the paravertebral. So one of these ganglion was taken and was prepared for staining. Okay, from books. Your sympathetic ganglion, paravertebral ganglion, in contrast with the DRG, the cell bodies are distributed randomly. They are smaller and ovoid. The nucleus is eccentric, usually in location eccentric on one side. No? There are fewer satellite cells compared to that of DRG, forming a complete sleeve around the cell body. These are pseudo-unipolar, no? So as to morphology, they are multipolar as to function, motor, visceral, GBE, di ba? Yan ang visceral E canal. Visceral motor to visceral, internal organs. The fibers are unmyelinated, okay? Because this is the start of postganglionic. You know, postganglionic are non-myelinated. Alright, which synapses? So, of course, the location of cell body preganglionic here from the spinal cord, preganglionic fiber to the ganglion will synapse with this cell. So, these neurons that we are seeing in the ganglion are actually our post-ganglionic sympathetic, di ba? Located in the ganglion. Next. Oh, your actual specimen. Yan ba yan? Hindi. Kung ano yan yan? Hindi ma-identify yan. Kung bone marrow. Ayan, low power. Medyo, kasi may mga neurons. So, dapat high power. Oh. Okay? So, identify entire organ. Sympathetic ganglion. Cannot be DRG. There are only two ganglia included in your exam. The other is DRG. This one had smaller neurons, somewhat ovoid, eccentric nucleus. So, sympathetic ganglion or paravertebral ganglion. Identify by entire organ, sympathetic ganglion or paravertebral ganglion. Ano pa? Identify pointed cells. To be specific, yung title yung answer, post-ganglionic neuron and sympathetic ganglion. Neurons of sympathetic ganglion pwede rin. Alright? But to be specific, post-ganglionic neurons in sympathetic ganglion. Correct. Alright? That's it for sympathetic nerve. Let's go to spinal cord. Alright, what is the spinal cord? Not everything, no? We will study the morphology of the good-looking large neurons of the anterior horn cell. The anterior horn cell is multipolar in morphology and Golgi type 1. Golgi type 1 means it has a very long axon, alright? Whereas the function is motor to skeletal muscles of the body. That's why it's called the lower motor neuron. Lower motor neuron, we will mention this term in the discussion of pyramidal tract. The voluntary control, I mean the neural control pala, o voluntary or skeletal muscles. Okay? Yan, this is your actual slide. First thing you do if you are examining the spinal cord, you look first for the dorsal horn. Because you will compare it to the ventral horn. The ventral horn is much larger than the dorsal horn. While you know your dorsal horn, you have this. By the way, this is the white matter, no? Surrounding the gray matter. The gray matter is divided into horns. So this is your posterior horn. This is the white matter. Of what? Axons, usually myelinated, of descending and ascending fibers in cross-section. Okay? This is the posterior dorsal horn because of this. Parang tail, no? Parang appendage. This is actually called your Lissauer's tract or Lissauer's zone. What is Lissauer's zone or Lissauer's tract? Remember your pseudo-unipolar neuron in the DRG, and then the central process goes into the spinal cord. It passes through here. So this Lissauer's tract consists of the central processes from DRG neurons, the pseudo-unipolar. So they carry sensory, general sensory, to the neurons here, the posterior. So you now know you are in the dorsal horn. You move now the slide while in scanning to look at the anterior or ventral horn, which is larger. Eh, dito tayo interested, right? O yan. O di bumaba kayo, this is still white matter, this is the gray matter, which is your anterior horn, ventral horn, much larger. And look at the cells. The neurons are larger also, no? Scanning pa lang, nakikita na. Then you should know our... Oh, nakikita na yun. These are our neurons of interest. And then lastly, high power. This is our view. By the way, that's white matter, myelinated axon. No? There. Alright, so in the practical must be beautiful as this, so you can identify. So this is your ventral horn cell. Okay? Or ventral horn neuron. Neurons of the ventral horn of spinal cord. So identify pointed cell. Anterior horn cell, that will suffice, no? Or neurons of the ventral horn, spinal cord. And you might encounter many side questions. For example, the function, motor, no? Or morphological, multipolar. Now I may point, no? If the pointer is small enough to point at this blue, these are blue bodies kasi. These are called basophilic bodies called, ano si pangalan yan? Nissl substance or Nissl bodies, N-I-S-S-L-S, apostrophe S, right? Nissl substance. What is Nissl's body? They are ribosomes, that's why they are basophilic blue. So I may point to blue and then I will ask you, identify the pointed basophilic bodies, Nissl substance, di ba? They are made up of ribosomes. Now, in examining your anterior horn cell, if you're lucky enough to find one, you know this is the start of one process. Maybe dendrite, maybe axon, another process, multipolar kasi, right? Now, if you're lucky to find one region of the cytoplasm which is free of blue, no zinc, devoid of Nissl substance, that's called the axon hillock, and that is the start of the axon. Kung maswerte, wala. Malas, wala sa practical yan. But if one area has no blue and the arising process, that's the axon. It's called the axon hillock. It is devoid of Nissl substance. Okay, so most probably questions, just identify this pointed cell. Anterior horn cell. Next, we'll go to cerebral cortex. Alright, in the cerebral cortex, among these so many types of cells, we are interested with the pyramidal cells of pets. Pyramidal yan, no? Bisaya siguro nagsulat yung pyramidal daw yun. Pyramidal cells of beds. Okay, these are the large pyramidal, cone shape. Okay? They are multipolar in morphology and okay, type 1 is the length of axon, very long axon. Actually, supposedly the axons of these cells will form the so-called pyramidal tract. Alright? And they are considered the motor neuron in the control of voluntary movements. In other words, the axons will form the so-called pyramidal tract that will control your lower motor neurons, meaning your anterior horn cells, spinal cord, and that will complete the control of voluntary muscle of the body. Okay? From books, you have actually 6 layers of cells, no? Of the cerebral cortex in man, except that region called hippocampal formation. No, mali. Hippocampal formation or hippocampus, well, there are only 3 because this is an ancient part of the human brain. Hippocampal formation, there are only 3. I'm not asking you to memorize this, no? Hindi naman kasama yan sa exam. But to have an idea, where are the pyramidal cells of beds? Alright? Outer molecular, hindi siguro yan. External granular, hindi siguro yan. Pyramidal ba? Pyramidal, siguro dyan. Third layer. Then inner granular, ganglionic, multiform. Now, the pyramidal layer consists also of pyramidal cells of beds, but they are of medium size, hindi sila malaki. The large pyramidal cells actually reside here in the 5th layer, ganglionic layer. So when examining your microscope, your slide of cerebral cortex, you just approximate the 5th layer, no? Ganglionic layer. Alright? There, where? Why? The ganglionic layer, mabayan nyo na yung nakasulat yan, ganglionic layer includes the large pyramidal cells of beds. Dami na 5, ha? Ganglionic layer. The axons of beds has formed the pyramidal tract. The cell bodies are called the motor neurons. Alright? So this is your pyramidal tract. So the locations of pyramidal cells of beds is the ganglionic layer of the motor cortex, area 4, area 6, area 8, kasama yan. Alright? And their axons will form the pyramidal tract, which will innervate or supply your lower motor neurons, which are actually your anterior horn cells, and the anterior horn cells will supply muscles. Okay? Book or atlas picture. Pyramidal. Huh? These are the smaller ones in the pyramidal layer. These are the large ones in the ganglionic layer. Blue yan. What about our specimen? Meron. So you begin examining your your cerebral cortex. This is one convolution or gyrus. This is the outer molecular layer, layer to layer, siguro banda dito. So you shift to low power. Siguro tip layer banda dito, malalaki na yung neurons, and then high power. Oh, meron na. Yan. Pyramidal? Yes. Ano na to? Pyramidal? Yes, yung shape. Kung hindi pyramidal, mahirap. Oh, yan. So this will be a pyramidal cell of beds. Identify pointed cell, pyramidal cell of beds. Okay? Tanda nga natin. Oh, from books. Oh. Diba? Mukhang kisses. Yung kisses na nakatayo. Candy. Kaya lang, kulay blue yung wrapper. Oh. Okay. Ayan. So, remember, no? Kamukha naman eh. Di ba? Oh. Kamukha. Walang kawala. Next. Cerebral cortex. In the human cerebellum, cortex, no, there are only 3 layers. Outer molecular. This time, I can ask you to name the pointed layer. Either the molecular, the Purkinje cell layer, the granular. Right? Those are the 3. Outer molecular. The middle Purkinje cell layer, it's a layer of 1 row, no? Of Purkinje cells, large cells but Purkinje cells. Then numerous neurons in the granular layer, and then this medulla. Alright? In books. Your Purkinje cell is multipolar, Golgi type 1 also, meaning long axon. So in your own specimen, this is one volume. By the way, in cerebral cortex, in cerebrum, the fold like this is called a convolution, di ba? O gyrus. In cerebellum, it's called a volume or volume. So this is one volume, another volume of cerebellum. This is the outer molecular, and Purkinje cell layer, inner granular, and then this white matter or medulla. Okay? Low power. Let's label them. Identify pointed. Layer, molecular. Identify pointed. Purkinje cell layer. Identify pointed layer. Granular layer. Okay? Identify pointed cell must be in HPO. So again, this is your outer molecular layer. Layer Purkinje cell. Each one of these is a Purkinje neuron. And then the inner, the granular layer. Alright, identify pointed cell. Oh, hindi pala. Layer, molecular. Layer, Purkinje cell layer. If the question is identify the layer, granular layer in HPO. But, if this one is pointed and then identify pointed neuron or cell, the answer will be Purkinje cell. Or Purkinje neuron. Okay? Yeah. Look at this. Oh. Tsaka yung atin. Kamukha, di ba? Oh, yeah. They are described as flask shape. Ano yung flask? Basic chemistry laboratory. Ano lang yan? How many flasks do you have? Erlen Meyer and Lorentz flask. Which is yung below. Ano yung flat na triangle ng ganun? Lorentz. O panahon ko lang yun, wala na kayo. Okay? So those are the Purkinje neurons of cerebellar cortex. Oh, digestive. Ngayon, napakahabang digestive lang. Okay. Oral cavity. Alam na yan. Lip, meron kayong specimen. Ayun lang, di kamukha yan eh. Pasensyahan na lang, no? Oh. Okay? Ayun na yan. Review lang yan. It's theoretical. Ayan, ang makita ko. Kasi ang after the zone of transition, no? Between the, I think this is the dry with keratin and the wet, no? So this is the vermilion border. And that is the dermis here. Here it's the lamina propria. Labial glands, and then this muscle is your orbicular soris. Ganyan na lang. I will ask no other question for lip except to identify the organ. Lip. Ito na lang. Kasi, if you move your slide away from the vermilion border towards the skin, this is the skin because these are your hair follicles and sebaceous glands, sweat glands, hindi ba? Erector pili, so this is skin. And that is your orbicularis oris. And then you go to the other side, inside the mouth, yung mucous membrane. Di ba? Non-keratinized stratified squamous, then lamina propria with the glands, labial glands, minor salivary glands. And then that is the muscle, no? So, just one view. I'll try my best to find a typical transition zone, no? Of the dry and wet stratified squamous or the lip. That's it. And just identify the organ. Okay? Tongue. Only the anterior 2/3 of the dorsal where there are papilla. Yan. Diba? From circumvallate to filiform to fungiform, etc. Alright. Ayun yung mga filiform, but we have no typical filiform in our specimen. Sana ganyan, no? Alright. This is your specimen. So each one of these damage nga lang, no, is filiform papilla. No pungiform, no valid. All of these are filiform papilla. Lamina propria, and then the mass of skeletal muscle. Identify entire organ, the tongue. Your base is the papilla. Hindi ba? No other structure, oral cavity, or entire GIT has papilla except the tongue. Okay, identify pointed papilla. No, classify filiform. This is a new slide. At least there is one pungiform, di ba? All of these are the conical, especially this one, filiform papilla, but this one is your pungiform. So again, this is the tongue because of papilla. And then look at the skeletal muscles and the collagen fibers from the lamina propria dipping down, no, to the muscle. That's why the mucosa is adherent, very adherent to the muscle. There's no submucosa. It's not a loose area. So again, identify entire organ, the tongue, because of the papilla and the numerous muscles, skeletal muscles. Oh, nalo na yan. Once you see this is the unique circumvalent papilla. Is the entire organ is the tongue. Identify pointed is the palate papilla. Alright, identify pointed. That you remember the glands of bone, serous glands of bone Ebner. Alright? Yan, LPO. So, identify entire organ under LPO, the tongue. Identify pointed papilla, circumvalent. Identify pointed structure, maybe taste buds, hindi na siguro. Alright. But then, the serous glands of bone Ebner may be identified. So, entire organ, the tongue. Pointed papilla, circumvalent, pointed gland, serous glands of bone Ebner. Okay? Again, the tubular starts with the esophagus, and we differentiated the three parts of esophagus, and then the stomach as the cardiovylorus, fundus, and body. The duodenum, the duodenum, the small intestine, the colon, and rectum. Okay? You know the layers. You know what is serosa and peritoneum? You know the intraperitoneal and extraperitoneal organs. Intraperitoneal will be covered by serosa or peritoneum itself. Extraperitoneal by adventitia. Di ba? May overview tayo niyan. Let's go right away to your specimen. This is esophagus. Scanning only, or scanning first. Remember, in all tubular digestive tract, in the practical, I may always ask you to identify the pointed layer. You know, there are 4 layers, no? I told you the first thing to identify is your muscularis mucosa. Here in the esophagus, where is it? So here is a muscle, no? Smooth muscle. Lining epithelium, lamina propria, muscularis mucosa. So the entire thing is your mucosa. Hindi ba? And then below that, muscularis mucosa, this entire layer is your sub. Oh, by the way, your mucosa is started by the scream sweat. Esophagus eh. Your lamina propria, alright? And muscularis mucosa, that makes up the mucosa. So first criteria for identifying that esophagus in the entire tubular digestive tract. The lining is simple columnar, except for esophagus which is stratified squamous wet. That's number 1. That will make you identify this specimen as esophagus. Number 2, there are no glands in the submucosa except on 2 sides. That is esophagus and duodenum. Duodenum, they are called Brunner's glands. In the esophagus, they are called esophageal glands proper. So in the submucosa, you will have this esophageal glands proper. These 2 things will make you identify this organ as esophagus. Okay? Then, if you examine the muscularis, if it is purely skeletal, then upper third. Mixed smooth skeletal, middle third. If it is purely smooth, lower third. Pero hindi nyo naman magagawa sa practical yan. Kaya hindi natatanong yan, no? Okay? So identify entire organ, esophagus. Identify pointed glands, esophageal glands proper. Okay? Next. That completes esophagus. Now let's go to the first part of stomach. By the way, still with esophagus, nag-ship tayo ng LPO, these are the esophageal glands proper. This is mucosa. Why? Lining epithelium lamina propria muscularis mucosa. So these are the esophageal glands proper under LPO. O stomach. Alright. We'll start from the cardia because this is the first part. Oh, this is the part that directly receives the esophagus and then body and fundus pylorus. Just recall the depth of the pits or the height of the pits or foveolae. Alright, big pits, short glands, pylorus. Big pits, short glands, pylorus. And then shallow pits, tall glands, your body or fundus. And then moderate pits, moderate height, no? 50-50, moderate height of glands, your cardia. Okay, let's start with cardia. And the specimen in your slide box collection is your cardioesophageal junction. If there's no pointer, identify this entire organ as the cardioesophageal junction or esophagogastric junction. But if there is a pointer here, identify pointed organ, the answer will be, obviously, esophagus. Diba? And then the pointer is here, be specific. Your answer will be cardia of stomach. Don't answer stomach alone. 0.5 lang ang credit, no? If you will answer cardia, cardia what? That's nonsense, no? Wrong. So cardia of stomach, pointed organ. Complete, no? Kasi you will, I will indicate, identify pointed organ, be specific, especially for stomach. So, kasi we're trying to differentiate the different parts, pylorus, body, fundus, and cardia. So, cardia of stomach. Okay, so you can see in the esophagus, lining epithelium still stratified as well. Now, this one is simple colon supposedly, and these are the gastric pits. Moderate, no? 50-50. These are the glands of the cardiac or cardiac glands, mucous glands, no? Okay? Now, sometimes this glands of the cardia or cardiac glands may extend here. They are seen in the lamina propria, in the lamina propria of esophagus. So you will call this esophageal cardiac glands, hindi ba? Sa lamina propria. But in the submucosa, this is your glands proper. Esophageal glands proper. Get it? Okay? Cardiac glands of the cardiac. That's why they are called cardiac. But there will be cardiac glands in the esophagus, in the lamina propria, esophageal cardiac glands. Which are different from esophageal glands proper in the submucosa of esophagus. Oh, any of these may be pointed, no, for you to identify. That's it, for cardia. Now we go to pylorus. Again, 4 layers. Always look for this. What is this? Muscularis mucosa. So from here to there, it's mucosa. These are not villi. What will tell you this stomach are the gastric pits. This time they are deep, deep, resulting in short glands. So you have the pylorus. Once you see gastric pits, stomach, look at the pits. Deep, big, short glands, pylorus. Okay, identify entire organ. Pylorus of stomach or stomach pylorus, be specific, huh? Okay? So these are the pyloric glands in the lamina propria. They are short, they are all mucus secreting. You know, mucus is for protection against acid. Hindi ba? Hydrochloric acid. So identify pointed layer, mucosa, pointed layer, submucosa, pointed layer, muscularis. You know, there are 3 layers in the abdomen and the stomach, di ba? Longitudinal, oblique, and the middle circular. So layer by layer, mucosa, identify pointed layer of the organ, mucosa, identify pointed layer, submucosa. I may ask you to, that's a side question. Name the autonomic nerve plexus found in this layer, what do you call it? Meissner's plexus. Yes. And then here, the muscularis. Identify, name the autonomic nerve found in this layer, Auerbach's for enteric plexus. Isn't it? Your enteric nervous system. And that is the serosa. Okay, so entire organs, pylorus of stomach, then layer. Okay, the glands are called pyloric glands. So we have cardia, then pylorus. The last part of stomach is the fundus or body. I read this is still a pylorus, no, deep pits, short glands. The same. Oh, pyloric glands under LPO, they are short. They are all mucus secreting. Alright. Scanning, no? Fundus, last part of the stomach, fundus or body. These are the deep pits, shallow, right? And these are the glands, tall glands. So, body or fundus of stomach. Alright, because this is your muscularis mucosa. Glands, tall glands, shallow pits. This is the mucosa. Alright, then submucosa, no glands, and then the muscularis mucosa of 3 legs. Alright, so identify entire organ. This alone will make you identify this. And look at the glands. There are many cells of different colors, red and blue in the tall glands. That is your stomach, body, or fundus. Identify the entire organ. Now let us identify the cells in the fundic glands. By the way, the glands here are called fundic glands or gastric glands. There, under LPO, shallow pits, tall glands, which is, this is your muscularis mucosa, submucosa. So as you can see, there are many cells here, no? Types of cells, blue and red. So, shallow pits, tall glands, stomach, fundus, or body. Okay? Now, we divided its, simple tubular glands, ang mga simple branch tubular, all glands of stomach, no? So, no, tubular. We divided the glands, into the neck area, siguro upper third, and then the body up to the lower portion, up to the bottom portion. In both neck and body, we will find the red, parietal cells. In the region of the neck, you will add mucous neck cells. So in the neck, there are only 2 cells, some mucous neck cells and parietal cells. In the body, up to bottom portion, we add another cell to the parietal cell. This is your chief cell. So in the bottom part of the organ of the gland, we will find only 2 cells, 2 types of cells, parietal and chief. Now we'll try to identify them under high power. Oh, what is this? Because this is the muscularis mucosa, this is the body or bottom part of the gland. Will you see mucous neck? No. Only parietal and chief. Which is parietal, the rods, reds. Chief muna, these are the basophilic smaller cells, no? Blue cytoplasm, secreting what? Let's see, that's a side question. And then the large red cells, rounded, polyhedral, whatever. As long as they are red and large, they are the parietal cells, secreting hydrochloric acid. Alright? Now, if you go to the neck cell, neck region, you still find your parietal cells, but the cells without cytoplasm. Kasi the cytoplasm was not preserved since it contains mucus. Mucus is not preserved. No? These are the mucous neck cells, secreting mucus for protection of the gland itself. Auto-digestion of the gland. Of course, again, nandiyan na naman yung mga parietal cells. Alright? Next. Small intestine. Automatic, what will make you identify the small intestine? All those modifications to increase surface area for absorption. The villi, foremost, that finger-like projection. And the large plica, circularis. Remember, the plica is a large fold wherein the core is formed submucosa. The virus is formed only by lamina propria. Alright? So, this is submucosa, this is mucosa up to here. Where supposedly this is your muscularis mucosa. So, this is lamina propria with the glands. By the way, the glands of the small intestine are called crypts of Liverpool. They are simple tubular. Okay? Duodenum. Yan, once you see villi, small intestine, but what? segment of small intestine, duodenum. Why? Because of Brunner's glands in the submucosa. Again, there are no glands in the submucosa except in two sites, esophagus and duodenum, that are called Brunner's glands. So layer by layer, mucosa, submucosa. Do you see glands? Yes, these are the Brunner's glands. So that will make it duodenum. Alright? The muscularis of two layers, inner circular and outer longitudinal. Outer longitudinal, and then of course, serosa or adventitia, depending on the second, third, fourth part. Okay, so what will make you decide this is esophagus? The presence of Brunner's glands in the submucosa. Again, identify entire structure, duodenum, identify pointed glands, Brunner's glands, identify pointed layer, choose among the four, mucosa, etc., etc. Okay? That's duodenum. What about in low power? Na-identify niyo pa kaya? Mucosa, submucosa with Brunner's glands, muscularis, internal circular, inner circular, outer longitudinal, and pwede ba? Di ba? These are your Brunner's glands. Namili kayo. Maybe this is the one, right? Okay. Just a speaking of the muscularis, we're through this in the study of, remember, smooth muscle histology. Diba? Inner circular, longitudinal, spindle shape with tobacco shape yung central located, so that in the cross section, different diameters of fibers, only the large circle, so that improves. That is just a review. Alright, ileum. These are supposed to be villi, so it's small intestine. And then look for the Peyer's patches. What are these? Aggregated lymphatic nodules in the lamina propria that makes them up to submucosa. So mucosa, lamina propria, submucosa, muscularis. Okay? Alright? Yan ang Peyer's patches. So, once you see Peyer's patches and villi, identify the entire organ. Ileum, identify pointed structures. Peyer's patch will be your answer. Okay? Other specimen may look like this. You know this is serosa, inner circular, outer longitudinal, muscularis. So this is submucosa. So this is fold wherein the core is submucosa. So the entire thing is a plica circularis, right? So villi, that's mucosa up to here. And this is an aggregated lymphatic nodule. So identify and circled or pointed, you see that they are aggregated collection, no, of lymph nodules, Peyer's patch. Identify the entire organ, ileum. So isang station na yan, identify pointed structure, Peyer's patch. Identify the entire organ, ileum. Last is jejunum. Again, small intestine, yes, why? Villi. And plica, because this is submucosa, right? These are just small blood vessels. So villi, the core is lamina propria. Plica, the core is submucosa. Di ba? So this makes this vessel in small intestine. But, do you see Brunner's? None. Do you see aggregated lymphatic nodules? None. Long lip-like villi? Yes. So this is jejunum. Identify the entire organ, jejunum. Okay? Pointed layer, mucosa up to here, submucosa, muscularis, and serosa. Okay? Yan. Now, we will use the jejunum, the slide of jejunum, to study further the glands of the small intestine. The glands of the small intestine are here. Okay? In the lamina propria, they are all tubular glands called crypts of Lieberkühn. The cells making up the crypt of Lieberkühn is formed by the two cells of the lining epithelium. So you must go back to the lining epithelium of small intestine, which is simple, columnar, with straightened border, and goblet cells. So in the columnar cells, which are called enterocytes or absorptive cells, that's the number one cell, no? Number two, goblet cell. But in the crypt of Lieberkühn, there is an additional one, the new one, the third one called Paneth. Panet cells. Again, HPO. These are your crypts of Lieberkühn. Muscular mucosa, villi of mucosa, submucosa blood vessels, no? And then high. These are your crypts of Lieberkühn, no? Yan. Oh, yan. The cells, no? Absorptive cell or enterocyte, the columnar cell, straightened border, then goblets number. Then at the bottom of the gland, you have a third type of cell in the crypt of Lieberkühn. They are called the Panet cells. Panet, okay, with red granules, which are palitan mo, maganda cells. Panet. Okay, they are lysosomes, the granules, the red granules. Okay? Colon. Ito mahirap because I cannot see any good specimen before, no? When I was preparing the slides. As a review, when you are on the large intestinal colon, there are no villi, no plica circularis, still simple columnar, but very low, straightened border or microvilli. Instead, you will find numerous goblet cells. You will have your glands, like this, those in the small intestine, crypts of Lieberkühn, but there are no panet. The distinguishing feature is taenia coli, but this is a gross picture. Yan. And if your specimen was taken here, there's no taenia coli. But at least you will suspect taenia coli because it's all inner circular. The outer longitudinal is gone or very, very thin. And then no plica, no villi, all goblet cells, it will tell you it is a colon. Why? Because there is no outer longitudinal band of smooth muscles, very thin. Understood, they were all collected in the taenia coli. But, hindi pa rin eh, ha? Mahirap pa rin sa inyo. So, I can't forget about colon. Rectum, yes. Why? Colon and rectum have the same lining epithelium, no? Lots of goblet. The same. But look at the muscularis. Complete. Inner circular, outer longitudinal, right? So there is no taenia coli here, di ba? Kasi complete siya eh. Hindi siya collected, bundled into 3 taenia. So rectum pwede. But during the practical, if you will see one without this, and it's a large, and it's lots and lots of goblet, you can answer large intestine or colon. The main difference is that complete layers, both layers of the muscularis are present. It's a rectum because there is no taenia coli. But if this is the only one left, parang inalisyon, it's colon because it's understood they were recruited to form the 3 taenia coli. Of course, there must be numerous goblet here to consider that as colon or rectum, di ba? Yan, para makawala na tayo dyan sa visit na colon at rectum na yan. Okay? Oh. Lastly, appendix. Okay? Very easy. Numerous solitary lymph nodules are. But the criterion that will make you identify this as appendix is mere size. It's small, di ba? Next. Oh, that is just the meso appendix. Oh, yan. Last. Okay, the major salivary glands, pancreas, liver, gallbladder, salivary glands. Parotid sa mandibular sublingual, that is gross anatomy. Alright? Yan, histology. Structural organization of all the 3. The entire organ is invested by a capsule, right? And then from the capsule, there will be interlobar connective tissue partitions that will divide the entire organ into lobes. So one lobe, lobe. And then from the interlobar connective tissue, there will be interlobular connective tissue septa that will divide the lobes into smaller lobules. Okay? Now, the lobules may still be broken down into smaller units called adenomere. Adenomere is defined as the totality of the secreting acini or units drained by one intercalated duct. Sabi ko kanina, intercalated disc sa heart pala yan, no? Intercalated duct. Intercalated duct directly receives the secretion of one of the acini, and then one or two intercalated ducts are received by striated duct. Striated duct, because the cells have basal striation. You will know the significance of basal striations when we go to the kidney. Okay? Whenever a cell has basal striation, it's capable of sodium pump near physiology, active transport of sodium. Alright? Okay, then the adenomere may be broken into individual acini. And the acinus, the secretory unit, may be classified as mucus and serous. And that is the only criterion, no? Based on the nature of secreted material, mucus and serous, that is our only basis for identifying the major salivary glands, as you will see in the next slides. Mahirap yan kung di natin susundin yung mucus and serous. So we will concentrate on the difference between mucus and serous secreted cells. For morphology, the parotid is compound-acinous, so what? Hindi naman magagamit yan for identification in the practical. Your sublingual and submandibular are compound tubulo-acinar. Okay? Now remember this. Parotid is purely serous. Sabi ko, ito lang pwedeng gamitin natin criteria. No? Parotid glands purely serous, submandibular is mixed, but predominant serous, sublingual is mixed, predominantly mucus. Okay? You just remember those. As to, wala rin yan, as the manner of self-participation, they are all mercury. So what? Hindi naman magagamit sa practical yan. Yan ang magagamit natin. As the nature of secretion, it is mucus or serous. So let us go back to mucus. Mucus, the collected mucus will fill the entire cell so that each cell will be pregnant, no? Will be full of mucus so that the mucus is flattened at the basal end. While serous has two staining property. The apical cytoplasm will be acidophilic because of what? Protein vesicles, secreted protein, vesicles of secreted protein, right? Then the basal cytoplasm will be blue basophilic because of ribosomes. We have a repeat of that here. Serous, the apical cytoplasm has red or acidophilic granules because of secreted protein. While the basal cytoplasm is blue because of ribosomes. That is serous. Now, yan, actual secretory vesicles, ribosomes. Mucus, easy, kasi clear or empty cytoplasm, while the cells are pushed flattened towards the basal side. Oh, yan, alam na natin yan. Now, we can identify these three. Just merely on who's more, mucus or serous. Okay? Whenever there is a mixed acinus, you know, 111, this is mucus. The serous acinus usually is cup, no? Is in the form of crescentic cup over the mucus, and it's called the serous lemilun. Sa mix, na? Sa mix. Alright, let's go to parotid gland, purely serous. So there is no mucus. But the problem here, there are fats that you might interpret as mucus, because fat is not preserved, so it's mucus. So both mucus and the fat cell will appear the same, empty spaces. Tulad nito, all these intensely staining cells are serous. May butas-butas. There are fat cells there. Okay? So, purely serous. Sa mandibular gland, ano yung mas marami? Yung darker staining serous o yung cottony white mucus? Bigla tingin. Anong mas marami? Serous, di ba? So, this is mixed. Predominantly serous. Ano yun? Sa mandibular, di ba? Pagdating naman dito, puro puti. Mucus. Wala namang gland purely mucus. It's mixed, predominant mucus, which is sublingual. So all of these are mucus secreting. But then remember the serous lemilun. So it's mixed because the serous part are in the form of lemilons. Hindi lang nakikita kagad, di ba? O, let us apply this in our practical. Hindi naman yung makikita nyo, yung mga picture. Makikita nyo sila. By the way, the ductal system, the intercalated duct is received by striated duct. The intercalated duct which receives directly the sinus is intralobular, nasa loob ng lobule, and so it's striated. You don't have to specify intercalated or striated, just say intralobular duct. If it's a large duct, interlobular duct. Yan, parotid, actual specimen. It's all blue, serous, right? Purely serous. But there are blank spaces, rounded. Ayan ang problema. These are not mucus. These are fat cells. Okay? LPO. Serous. Asinine. Eh, yung mucus, sir, may mucus. Hindi, ano yan fat cells. O, yan ang problema dyan, ha? Baka sabihin niya, predominantly serous. So, the key is mastery. Okay? O yan, dito na lang tayo magdepende sa HPO. Diyan hindi nyo makikita kung serous or fat cell. Hindi kayo magkakamali na mucus yan, no? These are fat cells. Everything else is serous. So this is purely serous. Identify entire organ, purely serous, parotid gland. Identify pointed, the serous na cyanide. Identify pointed, fat cell. Not mucus, ha? Identify intralobular duct. Mali. Inside the lobule. And then this is interlobular. It's large. Okay? Next. Sa mandibular. All blue? Maybe. But some are white. Mucus. LPO. More blue. Dark staining, no? Some are white. Cotoning. So, this is mixed. But predominantly serous. Sa mandibular. Then we use HPO. Again, serous, mucus. This is not fat cell, mucus. So more of serous. Mixed, predominantly serous sa mandibular gland, di ba? Ganun na. And then you can identify your serous acini, your mucus acini, your intralobular duct, and your interlobular duct. Okay? Last. Uy, scanning, puti-puti yan. Mostly it is mucus. So, shift to LPO, puti pa rin, mucus pa rin yan. Then HPO, talagang mucus. Mucus. But then remember the serous lemilons, meron pa ayan. Meron dito, ayan. Parang malilit na serous point natin. Those are the mucus, but then you have your serous part, the lemilons. So it's small, the mucus. So this is mixed, predominantly mucus, there is only one, sublingual gland. Identify the entire organ, sublingual gland. Okay? Oh, there's an interlobular duct. Alright, let's go to pancreas. This is another problem. Ganun din kasi yung structural organization ha? Alright? What makes pancreas now different from the salivary glands? Histologically, during the practical, buti na lang, the presence of an endocrine portion. So the pancreas is a mixed exocrine and endocrine. Exocrine consists of the acini which produce your digestive enzymes, right? Pancreatic enzymes. While the islets of Langerhans consist of cells that produce your hormones, insulin, glucagon, somatostatin, etc. You will have a detailed description of the islets of Langerhans in the section of endocrinology, last part. No? Here, the use of the islets of Langerhans for us is to enable us to identify the pancreas in the practical. Why? Without the islets of Langerhans, this pancreatic acini are purely serous. No different with those or that of parotid, which is purely serous. Again, pancreas is purely serous. Parotid is purely serous, but then pancreas has the islets of Langerhans, parotid. Understand? Okay? So once you see the islets of Langerhans, pancreas. Okay? An islet of Langerhans is likened to a pale island in a sea of blue. Or you can compare this to a dog's poo-poo. Poop. On the highway. Itong highway, kulay blue, yung mukhang poop. Dog's poo-poo yan, di ba? Alright, so that is the pancreas. Structure in general, same as in the major salivary glands, where there is a capsule dividing the organ into lobes, into lobules, etc. Alright? As to morphological classification, the pancreas is compound acinar, also merocrine as the manner of cell participation, and as the serous or mucous serous. But then, again, very short, ano sabi ko? Islet of Langerhans for you to find and another cell. It's called the centroacinar cell, only in the pancreas. Again, the serous acinus is the acinar cells have dual activity to dyes, basic due to ribosomes, basal, acidophilic, red due to vesicles and protein in the apical cytoplasm. Now, the duct, there is no striated duct, the intercalated duct has cells which extend, or they say telescoping. Telescoping into the inside of the acinus. Now, inside the acinus, they are just squamous or loculoidal, and the cytoplasm is not seen, only the nucleus. So inside the acinus, you will see a centroacinar cell. Only the nucleus is showing. Showing. Okay? So, centroacinar cell and islet of Langerhans will tell you it's pancreas. So, tingnan natin sa practical nyo. Centroacinar cell in your book sa cells of intercalated duct inside the acinus. So, discuss na natin. Only the nucleus is visible. Acinar cell, pyramidal siya. With a narrow tree, etc. etc. Okay? Pag na yan. Pancreas, scanning. Can you identify? Yes. Once you see, dogs, poo-poo. There. Yan. Di ba? Di ba, Pale Island, and it's sea of blue. Pancreas. All others are serous acinine, the exocrine part. Meron na naman puti because of fats. No? The older the pancreas, the more fats. Sino kumain ng tuwi? Alam niyo yung tuwi? Pumunta kayo sa slaughterhouse, order kayo ng tuwi. That's pancreas. It's tuwi ang tawag. It's glandular. Pulutan yun, tuwi. Hindi na binibenta sa palengke yan, sa matadero, sa slaughterhouse. Order na special. It's a pancreas. Okay? Because of fats. And then, yan, mga serous acinine, your fat cells, no mucus, And of course, your islets of Langerhans. LPO, still, you can identify. Why? Meron mabubo yan, wala yata eh. Meron. Yun. Di ba? Same slide eh. Yun, may isa. Kailangan magaling lang ang mata, no? Okay? HPO. Yan. You look for, now it's a time to look for centroacinar cell. Okay? So, acinar cell, tingnan nyo yung nasa loob. Yan, nucleus lang litaw, centroacinar cell. Acinar, nasa loob, centroacinar. Acinar, centroacinar. Intercalated duct, there's a striated duct. Alright, again, the same thing. Acinar, centroacinar, para masanin lang, acinar. Okay, so once you see this, even without islets of Langerhans, you know you're in the pancreas. Now, for your new slides, this is the best slide I can show you. Alright, high power. These are all acinar cells, and this is the islet of Langerhans. Identify entire organ, pancreas. Identify pointed structure, islet of Langerhans. And then identify yung cells, acinar cell. And look at the lumen. There's a nucleus, centroacinar cell. Acinar cell. There is a centroacinar cell. and in the islets of Langarens. Okay? That's the pancreas. Next, the liver is the organ that will make you live. Unilever. This is the so-called classical lobule. It's a hexagon, no? The central structure, solitary, it's called the hepatic vein. The corners of the hexagon has the so-called portal triad. Parang sindikato ng Chinese to, portal triad. Diba? With the three structures, portal vein, artery, and bile duct, marking the corners. And then radiating from the hepatic vein are the plates of liver cells or hepatocytes, surrounded by spaces which are special capillaries or sinusoids, hepatic sinusoids. So those are the only things that we will identify in the liver. Well, as a backgrounder, yan pa rin. Yan pa rin. Diba? Hindi discuss natin. Yan pa rin. Again, solitary, central, ano sabi ko, hepatic vein? They are called central veins. Okay, pag nag-iisa, central vein. By the way, the central veins will collect the venous blood from the liver, and they will join the sublocular veins and out finally of the liver to the hepatic veins into the inferior vena cava. So this is the venous drainage. Huh? Now, those in the corner triad, there's a portal vein, there's an artery, there's a bile duct. Okay, there's the rows and rows of hepatocytes, and then the sinusoids. So many things to identify in the liver. That is the classical lobule. Alright? In actuality, there is no demarcation. You cannot see the margin or the boundary of the hexagon. Your basis will only be the central vein, if it is solitary. And that is the corner supposedly. There are three, the portal triad. Everything here is hepatocyte and sinusoids. So, what are the three vessels entering and leaving the liver? First is the portal vein. As you can see, it drains the GI, T, and the spleen. So, in other words, it carries the absorbed nutrients from the intestines, delivered to hepatocytes for further metabolism. Also collects the byproducts of RBC destruction from what is the spleen. So, the liver cells can manufacture bile, diba? From RBC destruction. Okay, that is one. Second vessel is an artery, that is the blood supply, or blood supply to the liver itself, the hepatic artery. Okay, from the celiac tract. And the last vessel is the bile. But bile starts from the inside, no? It is manufactured by the liver cells, and then it goes to canaliculi, and then large vessels called bile ducts. So this will comprise the triad in the corner of the hexagon. The largest is the portal vein, delivering venous blood from GIT, and then the artery delivering oxygenated blood for the nourishment of hepatocytes. Both vessels will ultimately end up as your sinusoid. So in the sinusoid, there is a mixture of venous blood from the portal vein and arterial blood from the hepatic artery. So oxygen and nutrients will be given up to the sinusoids for metabolism, and then the used blood will be collected by the sinusoids to be delivered to the central vein. And the central vein to sublocular vein, sublocular to hepatic vein, superior vena cava. Okay? So here are the rows and rows of hepatocytes surrounded by sinusoids. Okay, the same. So the bile duct. So from the beginning up to the end, this trio, no, will be there to be identified in the portal triad. Only the bile duct has different flow liquid or content in reverse. Okay, the same. In your book, with solitary, central vein, all hepatocyte, sinusoid. In your book, the portal triad, the largest is the portal vein, and then you have your arterial, smooth muscle, and then bile duct, symphysis cuboidal. All of these are hepatocytes, and then the spaces are sinusoids. Okay? Your own specimen. Cannot identify them scanning, so we ship to LPO at least. Now, in the LPO, we have supposedly one classical lobule. Central structure solitary, this is your identify pointed. Go. Central vein. And that is the triad. Hepatocytes, sinusoids. We try HPO, the same. Hepatic, central vein, right? Sinusoid, hepatocytes, yan, nandiyan na lahat. Okay? Siyempre, I can ask you to identify the entire organ. Liver, kasi may hepatocytes, may sinusoid, may central vein. O especially kung mayroon siyang triad. O yan. The largest is your, and then smooth muscle narrow with RBC. O yun. And then simple cuboidal. Yan, like that. So any one of these may be pointed for you to identify. Okay? Tapos ito yung pinopoint, hepatocytes and then sinusoids. Next, the same. Portal vein, arterial, bile. Paulit-ulit na yan. Yan. Portal vein, bile duct siguro yan, ano? And this is the arterial. Hepatocytes, sinusoids. Yan. Wala kang triad, wala kang central vein, but you have hepatocytes. Okay? And sinusoids with hemolyzed blood inside. Kaya blood vessels siya, capillary, right? And this one is good slide, new slide, for hepatocytes and sinusoids. Okay? Last, gallbladder, madali na lang yan. Look at gallbladder. The whole skin, there are only 3 layers. The outer layer depends, no? Not facing the liver is devoid of peritoneum, so no serosa. Only this has serosa. Okay? What are the layers? There are 3, no? You have mucosa, there is no submucosa, okay? Muscularis and adventitia or serosa, sometimes called perimuscular connective tissue. Alright, the muscularis is of smooth muscle, supposedly in a circular outer longitudinal, but only delineated. You cannot make that as our point of distinction to identify this, no? I label these sinuses as Rokitansky-A-Shop sinuses, Rokitansky-A-Shop sinuses. We'll utilize these Rokitansky-A-Shop sinuses as the identifying pictures, no? Distinct pictures of the gallbladder. But between you and me, the classical Rokitansky-A-Shop sinuses of the whole gallbladder extend up to the muscle layer. And I did not find any. Now, Rokitansky-A-Shop sinuses are just continuation or extension or invagination of the lining epithelium up to here. So, they are equivalent to the glands. Di ba? Ganun din ang formation ng glands, invagination of the lining epithelium, yung the lamina propria. We gave it a special name, Rokitansky-A-Shop sinuses. Okay? So, wala. Ganyan lang. Scanning, identify entire organ, gallbladder, that's it. Mucosa, muscularis, perimuscular connective tissue. We'll consider this as our Rokitansky-A-Shop sinuses, maski wala sila sa muscularis. Alright? Yan. Mucosa, muscularis, perimuscular connective tissue, blood vessels lang yan. We will consider this as our Rokitansky-A-Shop sinuses. Alright? So the question here will be just identify entire organ, gallbladder. Alright, this describes the cells, no? Each columnar cell of the lining epithelium, like the intestine with microvilli, mucus secretion, of course. The function of gallbladder is to concentrate bile, di ba? before it can be discharged to digest fat. To concentrate, you must absorb water. Di ba? You add mucus. So in case of gallstone, di ba pag barado yan, this will secrete mucus until the gallbladder is enlarged 10 times with mucus for the hydrants of the gallbladder. Okay?
Paper.